the 4 tropical points of the year, that's Aries is a cardinal sign. Okay? Cancer is a cardinal sign. Libra, cardinal. Capricorn, cardinal, because equinox, solstice, they open the seasons. Right now, in 2 days' time, we're going to hit this point, the holy equinox. We are going to go into Libra, cardinal, autumn. It opens the door to the season. Autumn starts, the fall. See, the sun has to fall down to be crucified in the winter. Inferno, inverno. Infierno, invierno in Spanish. The other one was Italian. So, fixed, cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable. A fixed sign is something that has fixability. It's firm. The season is established. Here in Taurus, spring, strong. It's the bull. It's fixed. Gemini, mutable, because it's changing. It's getting hot. Gemini, as Bonatti, the 12th century astrologer, says, Gemini, the twins, come to double the heat for Cancer. So it mutates. The season is mutable. This is a mutable sign. Cancer, fixed, of course, cardinal, because these are door openers, the cards, the 4 cards. And the cardinals are the most explosive. Remember that fire? Fixed would be where the water is nice and cohesively together, but more expanded and more natural. Here it's compressed. It's not natural. You know, so the Aries people like myself, Librans, you see them very direct in their energy, and you can see what the cardinal energy is in an individual. And then you can see the fixed, the fixed energy of the Taurians. And then you see the mutables, the Sagittarians, they're always travelling, Geminis, very mutating, almost agitating. So, because that's where all the seasons are changed, they mutate, mutable. And that would be where the water starts sprinkling. You've got your water here at the nozzle, and then when it starts sprinkling, you see its droplets, that would be immutable. It's changing. See? So if you understand it that way, you'll understand that here we have cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable. But then we have the 4 elements. We have fire, 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 earth, earth, earth. I don't think I need to repeat that 3 times. Water. Pisces, water. And we've got air. Libra, we're coming into Libra, air. And Aquarius, the age of Aquarius is about air, mind. It's John the Baptist. As you will see, Aquarius, in the winter, the sun has to be baptised first, walk in the wilderness for 40 days of Lent, and then die and be resurrected and have a new cycle again here in Easter from Christmas. So that's John the Baptist. Here Jesus is born on the 25th of December. It's a little goat, it's a kid. But what do? They climb. Like the scarab beetle. It rolls the dung up, representing the sun, and then it winds it down. Okay? Rolls it down. And scarab is the carab, the crab, the scarab of Cancer. It's one of the animals, the scarab and the unicorn for Cancer, other than the crab. So it will always be there. And this is what he's doing, what is happening. And so that baptism of Aquarius is mental. And so as the sun, you can see all these are different. They're all different combinations. 3 modalities, cardinal, fixed, mutable. 4 elements, plasma, solid, gas and liquid. And as the sun goes along through the ecliptic every year, for 30 days, 30 degrees, That plasma energy of spring is generated on the Earth in both hemispheres. Even though the opposite season is, it matters not. That's why people get confused with astrology. They say, well, I'm Aries, I was born in Australia. I'm not Libra. And you can tell, if I was a Libra, I'd have a rounder head for a start. My son's a Libra and his head's round, and mine is Aryan. So, why? Because that's the starting point. Every degree, every day is always going to have that energy for the whole solar system. It's all based on the ecliptic. Tropical astrology is based on the ecliptic, whereas sidereal astrology is based on the stars. Okay, so that's what sidereal means. But that's why the system I use is tropical astrology, because it's always based on the position of the sun along the must, as it curves, it's always, remember, it's a helix, not a spiral, two-dimensional, it's a helix. So that's the sine wave is going like that. You know, we look at it like this. Here, we look at it like that. But when you look at it this way, it will be going like that as it goes around. And obviously, there has to be more than two polarities in that cycle. And that's how energy, they would know when to inject, for instance, in an engine, they would inject fuel at this point. And then most probably here at like a fire ratio or 120 degrees, and over here where all the fire is, cardinal, fixed, mutable. You see? And look at, isn't it interesting that you've got your two fires up here where, remember, this was the day and this is the night in the 24-hour clock. This was the summer and this was the winter in the year cycle. So we see fire turns up there and then finishes right here at the fall in Sagittarius, mutable fire, right before winter. No fire in this quadrant. None at all. Water, air and earth. And then if you look where air begins, opposite to fire, this is Saturnian air. You see? In Libra, Saturn exalts here, the sun exalts here. Daylight, express themselves at their birth or their growth or their decay stage. Okay? And this is expressed by Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, the creator, the preserver, the creator, the preserver, the destroyer. Again. And that's how energy is able to unfurl itself. In the phi ratio, it's how it enables itself to continue because all is motion. And the torus field is also, in the torus field, is a precessional rate. So what's a precessional rate? Well, the torus field, we know that the lines of force are going like this, reciprocating. Magnetic liquid in a very, very thin layer between two pieces of glass. And it's called a ferrocell. It's got LED lights, red, blue and green, around the perimeter. And so you can see the magnetic field, and it's this. All magnets do this. You see? And he shows by moving the magnet, he shows, see, that's redshift. And then he goes like that, see the blue? There's the blue shift. And you see the blue is more pulling in and the red is more radiating at a phi ratio 1 to 1.618. It's always that. All torus fields are doing it. This is 1, this is 1.618. This is the fat part of the egg, redshift. So there it is, it's symbolised like this, you see? That's why they talk about the black sun. The white sun and the black sun, they are both one and the same. Both one and the same. We don't see the black side except for night. At night, we actually do see the back side of the sun. Wow. It sounds like crazy talk, but Pierluigi Ghina, the Italian genius who worked with Marconi and discovered the Earth was stationary, proved it with his laboratory on YouTube in 2004 and before he died. Very interesting man, he's been able to explain a lot about the sun, and he believes that the sun and the stars are holes in the sky. Holy holes, remember? And so, but he's considered a bit crazy in a way, like all geniuses. His experiments have all been successful. He can prevent seismic reactions with his technology, and also send clouds away or bring clouds. And you can see it on YouTube. So if you look into Pierluigi Ghina, but he says something very interesting. He says, I have shown many important people of my community, like the mayor of town and everything like that, I've shown them the sun by night. So however he does it, he was showing them the sun by night, because when we see night, we don't see the sun, and it's sort of like it flips its polarity and then it turns its light away from us. There's a lot of this talk in many of the cosmologies I've read up on, so it's not that crazy. You might think I'm sort of stretching it, but that's how it's always been presented. They are one and the same, and that's what it's showing here. Sun and the moon. One's dielectric, one's magnetic. The sun's magnetic, pulsates. That's what Pierluigi Vina says. He says the sun is a heart. It has a heart in it which beats at the same rate as a human being, and that there's two energies: earth energy and solar energy. Solar energy is right turning, received by the earth, returned left turning. And in between that field is where all theatre, all matter is produced. Here, along this plane. This is the material realm here. It's here. All of this is transcendental energy. It's an energy field. This is the only terra firma. This is the theatre of Earth. And so you see source, mother, father, God. That's the father, that's the mother. Motion and rest. Co-eternal principles. Coexistent. What do we got here? Personal, source, monad, and then all the division between soul. Yeah, I can't see that. Shame. But see, this is what in the Jewish religion they teach. This is spirit, this is body, and then the radius is the soul. Ra, dias, means Ra, God, because it's radiating. It's a radius, and so you've got spirit, soul, and body, and that's how you symbolise it. And that, in astrology, that's the sun. The earth is like this, but with a cross in it, because of the four tropics in astrology. So it's all there, it's all Taurus field knowledge, it's all Taurus field wisdom. That's why you must learn the Torah. Backwards, rotate. Magnetism rotates, it moves. The dyad. The demiurge, Adam, that's where Dem is, you see? Remember? Dem, Tom, it means twin. This is the god of duality. It's a dipole. It's red and blue. That's where red shift, blue shift begins. This is the dyad.
Santos.
Yeah.
The bipolar, is that why people that are bipolar are switching too quick? Like the red shift and the blue shift is going like that back and forth, like they're not constant with it?
It's about, everyone is. It's about harnessing that energy, Some people think they're crazy when they start thinking different. Elements. This is how all the astrologers healed, with knowledge of it. And they do say it in Ayurveda too, the four dashes, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. They have three dashes, sorry.
When you're born premature at 7 months, does that cause depression? Being deficient?
We've got to be empowered. Because when depression comes, it's a cycle. If we are more empowered, we can cope with the lulls, and not just in the Hermetic principles. You have to know the 7 principles, Hermetic principles, and one of them is adapted the term, which in ancient Greek had originally been the ordinary word for craftsman, artisan. Now, me being a good Jehovah's Witness for most of my life, till I woke up, not reading the Awake magazine or the Watchtower magazine, but by being awake and escaping from there, I remember this, talking about Jesus. Then I was beside him, a master workman. That's the demiurge. That's what I always said. Jesus is the demiurge. Christ is the source God. Christ is the source. Jesus and Christ are two different entities. You can learn that just by reading one scripture. In Matthew chapter 23, I think it's 11, where Jesus, speaking to his disciples, says, "Call no one on this earth your teacher, for one is your teacher, the Christ." So Jesus speaking of Christ as in the third person, because it is the third person. Christ means Christos, the light, the black light. Christ, Krishna means black. Okay? Cryptic, hidden. See? Christ means black light. That's why you always see black Jesuses. You see that black people, they say, "Oh, Jesus was black," and he was. But then there's white Jesuses. Because it's this. Christ has two colours, black and white.
After the crucifixion.
Same with the Madonna, black and white, black Madonna. It's black light. It's the source light. White light is the false light. It moves. Black light rests. It is the source. You see, when a guitar is sitting there quietly, it doesn't make a noise yet. But when you clang, you pull that string, and you see it waving, now it's and it returns back to rest. Everything comes from rest. It's the source. Rest means crest, means Christ. Christ means black, resting light. That's why at the top of the sine wave you have a crest, because the energy seems to stop. It rests always at wave amplitude, and it seems to go faster as it goes through there. It's a crest, and black light is Christ, which is to rest. So the dyad. So yeah, there you go. So, see, that's why they're Christian Greek scriptures. In the Christian Greek scriptures, Pythagoras and Plato called the demiurge the craftsman. In the Bible, well, although that's, yeah, okay. That's Hebrew scriptures. But anyway, it's in the Bible. The craftsman. Jesus, the demiurge, this torus field, that's Jesus, you see. Christ is in that, this is the Jesus, the soul, that's the spirit. Ram, the Rama, that's the Jesus. That's the soul. Soul is different to the spirit. Spirit is one, can never be divided. Soul is sevenfold, 7 chakras, like the rainbow. So, and body is 12. So 1, 7, and 12. For Pythagoreans, the generation of number series was related to objects of geometry as well as cosmogony. According to Dionysius Laertius, from the monad evolved the dyad. From it, from numbers, points, then lines, 2-dimensional entities, 3-dimensional entities, bodies, culminating in 4 elements: earth, water, fire, air, from which the rest of our world is built up. There's the Trinity now. This is it, guys. RGB. How many times have you been saying that? It's red shift, blue shift, green. Energy. It is. That's why Christmas is always blue. It's the loving side of red shift, blue shift. The devil's always red. The Hulk's green. Cyrus is green. St. Patrick is green. There's your, you see?
Right.
Yeah. This is converging. This is converging. And from the same point, there's divergence. It's a pump. Red shift, blue shift, everywhere. There's the plane of inertia, there's the torus field. 2 becomes 3. There's the three-headed Trinity God. The Christian doctrine of the Trinity, triad, trinus, threefold, holds that God is one God, but three co-eternal, consubstantial persons or hypostases. The Father, the Son, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit as one God in three divine persons. It's the atom. It's the neutron, the proton, and the electron. My word. Dielectricity is the neutron, the proton is magnetism, and the electron is electricity. L. There's no other way. Sometimes differing views are referred to non-Trinitarian. Trinitarianism contrasts with positions such as bi-Trinitarianism, one deity to two persons or two deities. It's all about electricity. They're all confused. They're clueless that science is theology. It's the other side of the coin. Clueless. They've made a market, like Jesus when he cleaned out the temple, they're making a market out of theology. They're dumbing people right down, making it all literal rather than literary. As the Bible says, the Word of God is like a two-edged sword. You can divide spirit from soul, which is impossible. They are forever twins, you know. But that's what the Bible can do, because it's piercing truth. But people don't understand the truth, because they don't understand this. It's based on all of this. This is it. So, gamma is backwards for magnetism. It's gamma rays. This is the G in the Freemasonic. It's magnetism, gamma rays. And then you've got alpha and beta. You see, red shift, blue shift. And this is the longitudinal wave, magnetism. So blue sky, red earth, green Midgard. Yeah, those are the three letters there. Alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha, beta, and gamma. Tetrad. So this is God. These are the four cardinal points. The swastika. See? It's beautiful to see the Big Dipper in California at night, in the north. It's beautiful. 7 stars of the Big Dipper. The bark of Ra, the bark of Osiris, Noah's Ark. It's the boat. This is the boat, the Big Dipper. So it looks like a ladle, and it just goes around. And when it's here, it's spring. When it's here, it's summer. When it's, yeah, you'll see it. That's the North Pole, Polaris. And it's the Big Dipper, and that's because it's in a torus field. You're looking up in a torus field. When you look at Polaris, you're looking at pole, the bowl, all the stars, the sun, all these, what you see as spheres because of the optical illusion, the curve of the eyes, they have holes of light, points of light, holes in counter space, bringing us information. That's why we adore the angels, the stars. That's what the angels are. Bringers of light. So you've got the plane of inertia, and then you've got the hourglass, you know, the vortex. This is how Walter Russell does it. You see, plane of inertia. And all around Europe, I've toured a bit in Europe, all the cathedrals, they always have the four fixed signs. In the Bible, God has the face of a man, an eagle, a bull, and a lion. Now, it's obvious, you know, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, the fixed signs, where all the seasons are in the middle, fixed. These are the, you know, people who are stable, kind of, fixed in their ways. And that's it. Jehovah, Yod-Heh, Vah-Heh, the 4 elements. Fire, air, earth, water. And that's the top of the vortex. It's rotating. That's the true way of doing it. See, and here is Aries, Taurus, Cancer, Gemini. It's a wave.
It's really cool.
This is scratching the surface, guys. You can imagine. It's when you go as deep as I have down this, then you can talk like without notes. I haven't had I don't use notes. Just it's there. So easy for me because I've gone to the end of this science, and this is conclusive. That's why I'd love help to, get a lot of this stuff out. These opportunities are good because I can, share. But this is what the Egyptians said about Atum. I am the one that transforms into 2. I am the one that transforms into 4. I am 4 that transforms into 8. After this, I am 1. So that's easy to explain, It's the monad becomes the dyad, And then the, well, let's explain it this way.
Hey Santos, when the global elite send their kids to Switzerland for their private studies, you know, whatever, do they learn any of this stuff?
They're learning something akin to this stuff. It's inverted.
An inverted aspect.
They're using how to abuse this science, not use it.
Right.
We are learning white magic, magnetism.
Magnetism.
This is direct knowledge.
And they're learning.
Yep.
And they're learning.
You'll have more power and magic than them when your purity aligns with the worthiness of that power. But you'll get power from this knowledge. This will empower you. Yeah, it makes you very, very powerful. You know, you don't whip around, you have direction, you know. You stand for something or fall for everything. So, I am the one that becomes 2, that becomes 4, that becomes 8 with the cross quarter days. I always put those in. So, May the 1st, May Day, Halloween, November the 1st. Cross quarter day, right in the middle of the fixed season. May the 1st, August the 1st, February, Groundhog's Day, and Lochmas Day. Halloween, this is Maypole, this is May. I have the Maypole there in Taurus, and the Jews read the Torah. That's what's going on. So the 4 become 8. After that, I become 1 again.
Which is 9? Or 10 goes back to 1?
Well, it's just teaching this, that the cycle only needs 8.
Well, because it's the infinity. It's the infinity cycle, right?
Yeah.
The shape.
Yeah. Because every part, the 4 tropical points and the cross quarter days, everywhere in the world you will see this. You know what this wheel is called in Sanskrit? It's called the Dharma wheel. You know who Dharma is? It's Adama. It's the Adam wheel. It's the atom wheel. It always goes back to this, always atom. Otherwise, why would it be called the Dharma wheel? It's Adama. You're here to work your Dharma. That's Adama. We are all Adamites because we have atoms. We have an anatomy. So we are atomites. Right? We're all children of atom. I'm not made of anything different to you guys. No, it's all atom. All right, so female principle. What have we got here? Well, I'll just leave that up for the serpentine atum. That's interesting. Yeah, serpentine means the sine wave, the serpent. Yeah, it's the sine wave, and atum is that.
What is it? Atom?
Atom is the sine wave. It's everything. It's the atom. It holds the monad, the diode, the tetrad, and the all in it. So these are the gods Belus and Tammuz. Tammuz is Atam and Belus is Bel. You know the hyperbole, and we get the words belly and tummy. You know, this is your Baal and your Tum. You see where these words come from? Mm-hmm. Everywhere you go, you'll bump into the 3 words: Atum, Tor, and Bull. Now that you're looking for it. Oh no, this is not the presentation. I was okay. I know where I am now. Okay. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here. I will let those flash on the screen until I come to something I want to show you. There you go. Kabbalah. Kaba means cube, and Allah is ball. Allah, the ball. It's how to square the circle. And it's about, this is the circle, the torus field, and the square, according to Walter Russell, is in counter space. So in every torus field is encased by a cube. That's why all these religions are using cubes. You know, the Kaaba at Mecca, it's a cube because that's spiritual energy in counter space.
And they're turning.
Yeah, and the torus field is encased in a cube.
So it's trapped, right?
Yeah, it needs.
The foundation.
Yeah, it's like the
pillars,
the
the rods.
I'm looking for the word, but the vehicle for the torus field to be able to have expression in
That
time and
the
space.
Merkaba.
Yeah, that's how it's explained. Really, it's like the tesseract, the hypercube.
So it bonds us.
Yeah, so it's like the torus field will be like this, and then it will sort of come down to a cube like this. So it's like a tesseract, you know, and these are points.
So
Right.
it keeps us trapped in there. In order for us to really
Yeah,
get out of there.
that's Satan.
That's why they do the hex.
Square.
Like the
Yeah,
the Star David.
Yeah.
It turns into the cube. And all that
yeah.
stuff.
The war between Satan and Jesus. This is the sphere. Jesus, the torus field, is a sphere. It's spherical, but it's trapped by a cube in counter space.
That makes sense.
You see? And that cube, it's all about the two numbers. There are two. There's a masculine cube of creation and a feminine one.
The feminine sphere. She's the
No.
sphere. No.
They're both cubes.
No.
One has 8 and one has 27, like the Rubik's Cube. It's got 27 cubes on it, right?
And that's where they get the alphabet. Like
The alphabet, all around 27.
It's the 27 letters.
You get a tetrahedron, which is the fire polyhedron, and then you get smaller, fractal to scale. You will fit 27 in it of the same shape. 27 tetrahedron.
Yeah, that's how I'm able to do my geometry, my sacred geometry drawings
Yeah.
that I do. Is that I fit those circles inside and it creates the.
And how it does it, I will illustrate right now while I'm talking about this. I probably should. Let's do that. So what we have is 1 that becomes 8 is the feminine cube. And it goes back to the number 2. So you've got 2, 4, 8, and then you've got the masculine cube based on 3. 3, 9, 27. So you will go like so like the Rubik's Cube will have 3. Alright, that's it. That's the masculine cube, 27, based on 9. And then your other one is the feminine one, based on 2, division and doubling. See, odd numbers, they don't divide very well. It's hard to split evenly 3 things, yeah? 3 apples between 2 people. So, yeah, that's why with the feminine principle, there's so much polarity. There's doubling, which everyone wants, and then division, which everyone doesn't want. Okay, so, and that's this one here. And those, according to the Neoplatonists, these are how the cubes work. That's why there are 27 letters in all alphabets. English has 27 letters. The ampersand was taken out.
So is it like the masculine, the 27 is like a principle? You can't, like, once you narrow it down, you can't divide it no more. And the feminine, it's like the 10,000 things, all the thoughts, it's like it could keep on expanding, or you can.
Yeah, well,
I don't know about
as it goes out, the next one is 64, right? If you get the next cube, that'll be 64, yeah? I think. But wait a minute, no, 54, I think. So this is Pythagoras' number, yeah, 27. Because if you expand this, you got 54, then double 54 is 108.
They all equal 9, right?
108 beads in the Krishna thingies, or 54 in the Catholic Mary, Hail Mary beads and the rosary beads. So and 54 and 108 is doubled is 216, and that doubled is 432 hertz. So this is Pythagorean. This is all Pythagorean. And this is where the 432 hertz comes from. It goes back to 9. That number, universal number, 9. See? Always.
Do you explain anything like on music and how it makes you feel, and then how it plays certain tones will make you like drop your vibration, go to rest shift?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we're going to do some question and answers now, I think, and then I'm going to hit the astrology. So we're going to go straight to that.
What instrument do you play?
Guitar.
Guitar?
Yeah.
Classical?
And harmonica.
Harmonica. Accused,
Both.
Both.
Yeah. Nylon string.
Now
Mostly.
Oh.
So, yeah, let's do that. All right.
I get how this knowledge has always been around, but I don't really know how to explain to people, like, where did the ancients get it? Like, who taught this stuff originally to the ancients?
Yeah.
Evidence is that we all just had it. They left it in stone monuments all around the world. It's always there. Wherever I went around the world, I would see 12, 7s, the astrological signs. It's always there.
That was common knowledge back in those days, right?
Was it always?
We were more conscious. We knew how energy expressed itself. We put it in art. We put it in our buildings. We put it in our literature.
But was it occulted from the common man, or was it?
There wasn't a common man. You see, everyone was.
So everyone was.
The souls incarnating were a good frequency, and it was a good period called the Golden Age. But now what's happened is because there are fewer astrologers, you know, and people don't know how to reproduce properly and to when to give birth to their children at the right time, so they have better health, better mind, you know, when to, you know, the proper time to conceive during the month, and things like that. It was all the science. You know, it was all based on the moon. That's why, and the planets. That's why when you get married, you have a honeymoon, because you've got to get the right moon when couples come together. You know, you don't want to be generating a bad soul that can come in, and that's why you get, you know, black sheep in families, etc. Right? You see a beautiful family destroyed with some very, very destructive son or something that is addictive or is just destructive and hell bent on landing in jail and causing harm for others, and they come from a beautiful family. And other times you see families that are protected from that, and they no slip-ins, you know, no mistakes. Depends on your karmic work, and depends on your devotion. You know, if you take, you know, an entheogen like LSD or something like that, then you're not holy. You can't have ayahuasca for 2. You can't have meat for 2 weeks if you're a flesh eater before you have ayahuasca, because that demon will resonate with the murdered flesh. It's not going to be a good trip. I've never had a bad trip on entheogens. I've always had the best time because I'm ready. It's holy. It's a holy thing. I don't take cannabis, for instance, which I consume regularly for feeling good, or I've got no pain. I'm perfectly healthy. I'm not addicted. I have no addictions. Even though, you know, sometimes it looks like when I'm puffing on a spliff or a joint, you know, that I'm exceedingly enjoying it, but I do because it makes me focus. I don't like doing things straight necessarily because it's boring, you know. There's too much noise in this world. I want to filter it out, and cannabis has basically been the plant that has given me all the syncretism I have. And in the Bible, 5 times, God is requesting that His favourite incense be burned to Him always in the temple, cannabosum. Yeah, it's the human plant. You know, it really is. Problem is these days, people are smoking strains, which are not healthy, and they've been weaponized, these strains.
What verse would that be?
Hey?
What verse? Do you remember?
Look it up. You look it up in the Bible. It'll come up on hundreds of pages. Actually, it's funny. Kana boson. Yep.
Is this the cube in the topology of light? The two cubes on
Yeah.
top?
Yeah. Can you see the cube there? Okay. Oh, that's a cube. That's the top corner. I mean, you've got to look at it 3 dimensions.
There's 2 cubes there, right?
Yeah, there's 2 cubes. 1, 2. Yeah. That's the kaba means cube, and bala means ball. Squaring the circle. It's squares and balls. And ball is bowl, the hyperbole. Get to know the hyperbole. Go back to my YouTube channel, Mr. Astrotheology, and go to the playlist called All Is Atum, and the other ones that have bull and red in them, and red shift and blue shift. I've done countless of them, countless of presentations like this in Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, English. They're all on my channel, and they're usually always pretty different. There's hardly a repeat, and they're always different because there's so much information here. Right? Any more?
What's the meaning of an archangel? Different from an angel.
All right. What's an archangel, and what's Noah's Ark and the Ark of the Covenant? Electrical arcing. This is the Ark. Let me show you Noah's Ark. Remember, I told you that the swastika was the North Polaris and the North Pole and the Big Dipper, Ursa Major, which is called the Bark of Ra or the Bark of Osiris or Noah's Ark. Ark, these are angles, the degrees here. Angles are angels. Alright? And Noah's, here is, see, Cancer is close to the North Pole, Capricorn is close to the South Pole. Ursa Major is here. Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. There are 3 deacons in every sign. Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, and what's the 3rd deacon of Cancer? Argo. Argo is Ark. Okay, Argo, the boat. Jason's boat and the Argonauts. Jason and the Argonauts. Jason is the sun. Jar's son. Samson, the son of Shem, the sun. All the heroes of the sun. Hercules, you name it. Jesus, it's all the sun. You're the hero and it's you. And every hero from Humpty Dumpty to Jesus Christ, it's all the sun. Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, it's all the sun. So, where was I going with that?
Where would Archangel Michael be?
Okay. Argo, hold that question.
Yes.
Arg is ark. Okay. Arg is bark. It's the car. The bark or the car of Ra. This is a car. The torus field is a car. It's arcing, electrical arcing. Boat is bark, yeah? The bark or the ark of Noah. Noah is the sun. How many people are on in the bark of Noah? 7 other people, yeah? His wife, 3 sons, and their wives. Well, that's the 7 refracted colours that come from Noah, the sun, when it emanates the rainbow, which is the arc of the rainbow, Ra's bow. In Spanish, arco iris, the arc of Iris. In Italian, arco baleno, the arc of Baal. It's the sun. The rainbow makes the arc. And that is the bark of Noah, the rainbow. That's why when Noah gets out of the bark, first thing he sees is God gives him a rainbow. See? Because it's showing you that Noah, the sun, like Snow White, which is the sun, has always 7 dwarfs, the 7 refracted colours of the rainbow. So the hero will always have. Yep. The hero will always have, that's a good one, Shambhala. You see the Bala? Where do you go to Shambhala? You go to the North Pole.
Shambhala.
Yeah? Because it's the pole, the Bala. Look for that word. That word will bless you. Bless, B-L-S. Sorry.
Gotta change the camera.
Change the camera. Right, let's stop. Aquarius is the traveller. Okay, so we came to partners, then there's death and transformation, and many other things. Sexuality, sexual attractiveness, the generative system, Scorpio. Sagittarius is more now mystical, religion, philosophy, wisdom, dreams and visions, devotion to gods and temples, long journeys, pilgrimages, public life, public service, your reputation, your career, honours, dignity, acknowledgements, achievements in life, your path. The 10th house is probably the favourite of all astrologers, ultimately, because it tells the final story. What's this individual going to be at the end? You know? You'll find that some great successful people have the sun here. You know? And public figures, because it's the public house, the 10th house. Here is the social house, social living. These people have got a lot of friends. My son's got about 3 planets in here. And he's Libran as well. So he's got that partner and all of his social... he's Libran, and his son in Libra is in the 11th house, enlightenment. I have Mars here and the North Node, which means your purpose. And I've been fulfilling that purpose all my life, because that's what I've been looking for, you know, true knowledge. And so having the North Node there, I've done it. You know, it's uncovering the hidden things, uncovering, you know, your hidden nature, the Akashic records, past lives, all kinds of illuminations. So it's good in that. But when it's bad, it's really bad. It has to do with stress, anxiety, self-undoing, self-sabotage. And I know that I've done a lot of self-sabotage to me and my work, especially over the last 10 years. I've sabotaged a lot, and that's Mars in the 12th house. That means doing it ferociously, you know, like with a vengeance. So I've got to live with that. You know, there is self-sabotage in your chart. That's why you need to know where you want your sun in a good house, you want all your good planets, and as they are positioned in this you know, round table of King Arthur, all the you know, all the knights, they are positioned to either bless or give trouble to the individual. And as certain transits happen through the course of your life, you will find that good things and bad things do happen along the ecliptic every year. You get blessings and you have some bad things happen. And if you know how to, you know, go back and do your transits, you will actually find it in the clockwork. You will find that event actually in the chart all the time, without fail. So let's do some questions, and we're going to finish in about 20 minutes, I think. That's it, isn't it?
Pretty much.
I'm pretty happy with how that came to a culmination, because I'm sure now that's enough for you just to have a fundamental. But yeah, I always say I only get you know, I only start getting unwound after 2 hours. And we had 5 hours of information here. It's not enough. You know, a course would be good, you know, to really advance this, and you would go away with a lot more. But I hope that was plenty.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have Saturn, Jupiter, Mars in the 8th house.
Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars. Okay. So either a lot of transformation will happen with you, a lot of transformation, or deaths around you, or inheritances from dead ancestors, uncles, and what have you. You will have a good business sense, good business mind. You'll be very, very creative. Creativity comes from that house, because when you have children, when you generate, you're creative. So it's that kind of creativity, very powerful, associated with the 8th sign, Scorpio, the generative system. Each sign rules a system of your body. Aries rules the cerebrospinal nervous system. Taurus rules the endocrine system. The twin lungs, Gemini, the respiratory system. Cancer, the lymphatic system, although Pisces is also associated with that. Leo, cardiovascular, circulatory. Virgo, digestive. Libra, renal, urinary system, the renal system. Scorpio, the generative system. Sagittarius, the muscular system. Capricorn, the skeletal system. Aquarius, the 12 meridians, acupuncture meridians, 12. Pisces, the integumentary system. There's always 12. 12 cranial nerves, 12 nerves in the solar plexus.
Now, didn't the Romans give us this 12-fold cycle calendar? I mean, wasn't it like a 9-month calendar prior to that? Because of 9 months that we are birthed into this world takes 9 months. So wouldn't that be considered a year?
Yeah, there have been. There have been 10 months as well. There's been all variable.
Now, him changing it, Julius Caesar, into the 12-month cycle, would that him taking astrology and then basically putting it in literal format for us so we understand? Is that why he changed the calendar?
He was just corrected the secular calendar to the sacred calendar.
So
he didn't have touched the astrological calendar.
So
he just made it fit.
He corrected it?
Yeah, but others have corrected it.
Okay.
And then it's gone out of correction. But that's what Gregory did in the 1500s with the year. Took 16 days out, and it was a correction. Everything now is settled absolutely to perfection because the calendar, the secular calendar, is pinned to the astrological calendar, and it doesn't fail. It's always Aries begins every year on the 21st of March. Period. The cycle always starts at that equinox.
Did they add 3 months?
Huh?
Did they add that? Because September is the 7th month, and
Yeah.
October is the 8th month. And then they added the 9th, or the 10th, 11th, and 12th month, it seems like.
Yeah, they did. Julius Caesar added July and Augustus added August, and they both made those 39 days. Because one is Julius and one is August, meaning holy.
Does it have to do with their harvest? Like on how they, like with their harvest season, on all that, how all that stuff, they base the calendar system on that, so the harvesting?
Well, yeah, the astrological. Yeah.
Okay.
That never changes. See, what happened was Aries used to be called Primus, Primus, Secundus, Tertius, Quartius, Quintius, Sextus, Sextus, and Sept. So Libra is this month, in 2 days' time, where the sun will enter Libra after the equinox, and it will be September, and it will be the Sept month, astrologically. Always go back to the astrology calendar, and you will understand all things. That's why the 9th month, secularly, if we start in Aquarius in January, is September.
So
but astrologically, it's absolutely the
So
same.
whether it's 9 or 12, you can do the same system on both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It just stole days from another month in the secular calendar. You can't do it astrologically.
And that's where
No one's ever touched
like
it.
3, 6, 9, and then 12 is the completion.
12 is the missing number that Tesla left out because he didn't want to give you the whole clue. He said the universe is based on 3, 6, 9. What he didn't do was he didn't give you the 3 transitory numbers of the 4th Trinity. So what you have is 1, 2, and 3 is the positive Trinity. 4, 5, and 6 is the negative. 7, 8, and 9 is neutral, and that's well, that's all they're factoring in.
Yeah.
But whereas 10, 11, 12 is transitory. Or
That's
transitional.
beyond the material.
Transitional, sorry. Transitional. According to Papus, a French illuminist of the 18th century, when he did the 12 numbers and the Kabbalah, and he explained you have a positive, negative, neutral, and transitional trinities. So 4, 1, 2, and 3 are positive numbers. 4, 5, and 6 are negative numbers. 7, 8, and 9 are neutral, and this in their full expression.
And to add on to that, the 11 and 12, L and Eve are merged into those words.
11, Eve.
So you got L and Eve both in 11 and 12.
Yep, I know.
You know, so that's kind of merging the two. So yeah, 1 through say 5 is metaphysical, and you have 5 through 9 is physical, and then you have the transcendent, which is 11 and 12, and that's when they merge.
That's right. So the spring would be positive, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6 is negative because the sun is waning. 7, 8, and 9 are neutral. And then the winter is a transitional, these numbers. If you look at it like that, you can see what Pappas was getting at. It's really hard to sort of work this out, but the transitional 3, because remember, there are people, and like Marco Rodin with his vortex mathematics, I understand it. It is 9.
Can you do
But
this?
he's missing out. You know how he's got the 9 and the 6 and the 3 outside of the other numbers, right? Marco Rodin's vortex mathematics. Well, there's also 10, 11, 12 there, which are transitional, which he hasn't included. It's 12.
Yeah, I was wondering
12
if
is the
you
number of the
do the
universe.
vortex math with the 12.
Yeah.
It's because you can do it with 4s, I think, and you know, or 8s. I forget.
Yeah.
But there's no way to cover it.
But you can also say 9. It's just the same stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah.
wait,
I'm on the right track.
yeah, sure. Any more questions? Yes, sister.
Before anything, I do want to thank you for what you're doing for humanity, awakening our ancient information. So you've been at it for a long time.
Thank you.
They've been following you for a long time. So I have a few questions. One of the questions is, as I read different philosophies and different things that are happening in the world, the awakening of the astrologers will be a science that will be requested in colleges in the future. So I see a future of astrologers and professors who will this one. But to start with, what would you recommend to the younger generation when they're setting up a business as an astrologer? What suggestions do you have? That is one of the questions. Also, with this awakening within astrology, some astrologers are awakening magic as well. So magic and astrology has been awakened. The question is, when will the younger generation become aware of what is black magic and white magic, because a lot of that has been awakened. The other question that I had is, when you were explaining about spirit and soul, I'm always very curious and syncretism. When does the spirit and when does soul enter the body? When one is pregnant? And my last question or suggestion is, when you work with the elements, the ancient souls that have shown us that you can use the wind, the winds are really strong for the clearing. It's like we're reclaiming our own power. Or you could do it when it's raining very heavily, stay there. So clear all your bodies.
Yep.
Thank you.
Great. So how to advance as a beginning astrologer and set up a business and get yourself geared up, because as the Egyptians did not receive any adepts who were knocking on their door, knocking you shall receive, if they didn't know how to do transits, minimum, and vegetarian lifestyle. Shut the door, go away, learn your astrology, don't harm the animals, be clean, come and we'll accept you. So how do you get there? You use all these tools that I've taught you. Understand what those elements are doing. They're teaching you big knowledge about energy. What is fire, what is earth, what is air? Learn this. You'll get to learn, you will experience it. Gemini, Libra, these are air signs. It's very mental, stimulating energy. It's mind. Pisces, Cancer, water signs, very emotional energy. You will see how the planets interact with your emotions. Just look at what the moon does to you. It wreaks havoc on people. Makes them moody. Yeah? So learn the planets, the archetypes. What does Mars do? What energy does it bring to any sign? You know? And by doing friends' charts, by asking them what their sign's in, you have to expand your knowledge now. Go on the net, look up. The net would be the best way to learn. Look at YouTube channels telling you how to read the houses or how to do astrology. Ask and you will come. So that's what I would do there. What else did you ask?
I wanted to find out when does the spirit or soul
Yeah.
enters the body?
Yeah, I'm not really too sure about that. I think it's the 49th day when, which is Pentecost, because, but I've heard, and I can't tell you what the other figure is, but if you look at this, if we go back to our calendar where we had Aries here, Taurus, right? Let's say, you see, this gives you the 9 months of gestation, okay? At 6 months, the baby falls, it falls, it just goes, it falls down at 6 months, and it would be born here. That's why Christmas is here, when the son is born. So if it was born here, it would have to be conceived 9 months earlier here. And what is the 25th of March called, if not the day of conception? So what it's teaching you, the calendar's always teaching you, why is 25th is where it's born, that's where it's conceived, there are 9 months, the baby is in the uterus here. What happens is, after 49 days, you come to what's called Pentecost. Pente is 50, Pentecost, and they say that the embryo becomes a fetus, or that's when the soul comes in, because the spirit is already there, remember? So the spirit is one, and the soul is sevenfold. You know, so imagine it's sevenfold nature is developed then, the chakras. I'm not sure. So I'm probably not really the one to ask on that, but 49 days, that Pentecost period, there's something about that, why they have this, but as you can see, it all corresponds with the cycle. Not only is this amazing theological date where conception is the 25th of March, and the birth of the Saviour is the 25th of Capricorn, you can't make this stuff up. It always turns up. And it's telling you about the 9 months. And remember, they are positive, negative, neutral, and transitory. You see, so there is a transitory period also in our gestation. There has to be, because 9 months is not complete. Remember, George Carey says, if you are born in a sign, me, Aries, for instance, I will be weak in that mineral salt, that tissue salt, potassium phosphate, and the next 2 signs, because you are having the full complement of minerals and trace tissue salts from your mother in the womb. And he administered the 3 salts to each individual according to their astrology, and an amazing success at healing people. Yeah. So there is something about that 9 months, and in mythology also, it's not a complete and natural thing. You know, probably the reason why humanity is still in a certain condition, and we haven't advanced greatly as we would, because maybe it has to do with the gestation period. I don't know. Yeah. So, did we do all those questions?
And the last question is that what's your comments about the astrology that's coming in with the awakening of magic?
Yeah, well, that's what magic is all about, because when you get to know your chart, then you create magic. Okay, so for instance, if you've got a noise in your car, ding, 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 when you're driving along, you're not a mechanic, and this is worrying you, it's a noise. So you go to the mechanic, and the mechanic says, oh, don't worry, it's just this, it's all right, you can do your 100-mile tour, right? And it alleviates you. And now you're free to practice magic, because you know what's in your car. You've got to know what's in you. Man, know thyself, and you will know the gods of the universe. How do you know yourself? Astrologically. You can't know yourself fully without astrology. You need to know where your Mars is. Mine's in Leo, the heart. Does that figure? Yeah. You can tell my Leo, my heart has got burning Mars in there. It gives you a lot of passion, it gives you a lot of desire, it gives you a lot of energy from the heart. Right? My sun is in Aries. Yeah, I'm good with cerebral activity because the sun is illuminating that part of the brain. My moon is in my feet, Pisces. And Jupiter and Mercury. I'm very, very fast. I'm a very fast Arian. Arians are fast, but I'm super fast. My mum says that my speed is not from this world. She reckons she's never seen it. She used to call me Jehu. Jehu in the Bible was the king of Jezebel, and he was fast in his chariot, and one of the enemies heard Jehu coming and said, oh, that's got to be Jehu, the king of Israel, because no one drives that fast. She used to call me that because she could tell when I was getting home, because she said she heard cars screaming 100 miles an hour and then just stopping and then getting into the garage, and then all of a sudden I'm home, Mum. It's like, hi, Mum. And she would call me Jehu because no one does things as fast as I do. So, yeah, and that's because of Mercury in the feet. A lot of Arians have Mercury in Pisces, and they are very fleet of foot. And that's about it, guys. Thank you. There you go. Is that it? Yep.
Can you go into
YouTube channel? I've done one on the perfect matrimony. I've done one on white tantra, twin flames. There's about, in the last 2 months, there's about 4 or 5 videos where I've touched on this and how to develop the
like the
cranial nerve.
position, like the optimal position? You know, like missionary or you know.
You can learn all that yourself. All I'm teaching is how to have non-ejaculatory sex, because the seminal fluids, that's why young men go to seminaries, to learn seminary retention and not to squander those materials for which will be built the 13th cranial nerve. So,
I'm sorry, sir.
yeah, I'll make
for the animal zodiac, like my previous question.
What's that?
With the Chinese zodiac, like
Yeah.
how does that tie in with the?
All right. Well, I'll give you the key. Start with the dog. Start with the dog in Aries.
Yeah, I'm a dog.
Right. And that's Aries. And then you'll see how they all coincide. You'll see the tiger goes where Leo is. You'll see the horse goes where Sagittarius is. The snake goes where Scorpio is. The dragon goes where Libra is, where the dragon is.
I'm a Libra, but I'm also a water dog. How do you?
Yeah, that's different, because Libra by the sun, but yet the Chinese sign is Jupiterian. It's not solar.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
It says club. What's the name of it?
You say you're gonna mention about the flat lake.
The flat?
About the artery leg.
Yeah, yeah, I did a bit. Well, remember, that's it. That's the Earth. The plane of inertia is the plane of Earth. So if you're going to need to, you know,
I like this idea.
hook up and get exchange numbers, and you know, probably next time round we'll all see each other again, hopefully.
There you go, sir. This is good for you.
Block radiation.
Good.
This is